Will more Democrats join him in boycotting Netanyahu's speech? And what's this political fallout for Biden?
Yeah, I mean, I think clearly the memory of, I think, what a lot of perceived snubs happened during the Obama administration and the very strained relationship that our former president had with the then prime minister. I think that this has created a tremendous amount of consternation. There are a lot of Democrats who are really unhappy about the fact that the leadership signed off even on this invitation, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, even though it's kind of performative that when the speaker makes an invite, the minority leader just kind of signs off on it, just for the sake of circumstance. But this is a really political touch point for Democrats right now. And I expect a lot of Democrats to join, the former majority whip Clyburn in boycotting this address to Congress. We have seen, politically speaking, how this issue has really created a giant schism in the Democratic Party between the more progressive wing, between younger voters, and the more traditional foreign policy Democrats. And it's created a lot of headaches for President Biden in his campaign as they try to motivate and animate voters. This is the last thing that Biden needs right now, is a divide with his base that he desperately needs to turn out in big numbers come November. We're seeing a lot of protest votes and a lot of primaries so far in states like Michigan, where they're doing the I'm going to vote for anybody but Biden, just to make the point that they're unhappy with the current Democratic Party position on Middle East. This just highlights and illustrates that and brings that to the surface.
Bibi Netanyahu, quite the controversial figure over the weekend. Also, Alina was in front of the White House where demonstrators were there with red paint on their hands saying, this is our red line. Biden, do more to get a ceasefire and stop the fighting. Jennifer, a ceasefire deal, though, remains elusive. So despite President Biden's push for one, now we've also got this Israeli war cabinet minister, Benny Gantz, resigning. Get us up to speed for folks who don't know exactly who this is and how significant this is, because this is having the Prime Minister Netanyahu lose the centrist party's support here. Could it be emboldening them?
Well, I mean, what this is going to do. So Benny was part of the three-man war cabinet and more of a centrist figure. I mean, all this is going to do is then make Netanyahu go more towards those far right-leaning supporters, which don't support the ceasefire. So I think that, this was really more of a symbolic and ceremonial move by Benny Gantz, and it's not anything that really helps Israel or helps the situation. And so at the end of the day, I don't agree with what he did. I think if you're really concerned about your country, you stand in there, you stay the course, and you make sure that everyone is kind of rowing in the same direction instead of letting one side pull, especially in this case, all the way to the right.
Yeah, he said he had this ultimatum, come up with a better plan by June 8th or I'm out. And many were wondering if he actually would be out, and he was. Let's switch gears now. Fresh off a busy weekend of campaigning on the West Coast, a Trump campaign source tells NewsNation they raised over $33 million over the weekend. So, Kurt, the VEEPStakes heating up with the former president weighing a slew of candidates. Who has the edge, do you think, or is it anybody's guess?
When it comes to trying to forecast what Donald Trump is going to do, I think it's truly anybody's guess. He could do anything and everything. In the past showed that he's willing to do anything and everything. I think that conventional wisdom, which usually has no place in these conversations, suggests that the front runner really is still Senator Tim Scott. This is someone who I think that will be the happy warrior that they need on the trail. Obviously could have inroads with black turnout. Any dent that Republicans can make with the black vote could be fatal to the Biden campaign. And the other person that makes sense is potentially Elise Stefanik, in terms of there seems to be a lot of common sense virtue in having a female on the ticket at a time where one of the major issues in this election is going to be women's rights, abortion, women's health. It's not a great look for the Republican Party to have two men on a ticket when this is an issue that is causing Republicans a lot of consternation. We have seen now after election cycle after election cycle after election cycle of Republicans underperforming in the public opinion polls solely because the issue of abortion is animating women voters, suburban voters in a way that is being detrimental to the Republican Party. They need to do something to shore that up. Putting a woman on the ticket like Lisa Stefanik could help do that.